right in the heart with a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on me. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the L.A.R. I feel a cold stare. Think I ain't looking. Maybe because I'm focused. No hands out for the hopeless. Funny bullets, I caught some shots. Another piece of the puzzle connecting dots. You can find the truth of laughter and liquor. One more shot to an empty bottle. This is gonna walk there like a model for me. Like I don't see her intentions all in my scope. At a time we were just friends with advice to land. Nothing special, I was dead broke, but we still got hope. Don't take my words, just back and issue that raw dough. Just back and issue that raw dough. Back and issue that raw dough. To the people that listen to my people, they know that I do care. With their hands in the air, rocking side to side. Now my work, yeah, time to ride. Where my niggas at? My niggas ain't my niggas no more. Push me to the back, label to change up his swag. I do it for us, I'm pro-black. Don't rock it the shit, yeah. Wouldn't be so all type of African shit. Just rock a thing for fade, swagger tailor-made. Polo collars and fly kicks. Just polo collars and fly kicks. Exclusive shit, not get wig. Keep it coming, just don't stop. The revolution starts with shot.
I'm respectful to my people, and I want to represent my people, and I don't want to be a bad representative. I can't be blind, let the blind lead the blind, they all follow the good.
Now my mama said, baby, act like you got sense. They act like I only act right for Lent. Been living in purgatory, but I'm nosing for heaven. Not sure if I'm getting in, cause I ain't paid a reference. Who looking at me when I ain't looking, judging my character? I can't put down my guard on this planet, back in the camera. Ready for my close-up, the lens gets bigger. Won't play me on BET, cause I am not a nigga. My heart is like a powder keg, ready to explode. Smell like strange fruit, cause I'm America's cologne. It started with the hello, think you're a nice fellow. You're ballin' like Carmelo, you treat you like Othello. L.A.R. with the stars, turn a rapper to a prophet. Bulletproof 306, keep your hands in your pocket. Jordan rules for my life, you contain them, can't stop them. I'm niggas sky high, so the clouds can't drop them. My life is like a miracle, my words are just imperial. I'm edible, I'm audible, I'm digital, I'm visual. Spit like Komodo, go like Bruce Lee, Roy B. And the mean as bad as Mofo in the dojo. Life is so amazing and raps like Jesus. They said hip hop is dead, but today look like Easter.
Some people stand up and rise. Some people sit and cry.
Now I wake up in the morning, I'm black and handsome as ever. However, you see me as strange fruit, will it ever happen, not again. A crooked just ain't homicide, he know it's self-defense. But since I'm black and since he white, he got no common sense. That's 1969, and he ain't Jesus Christ. He ain't coming back on Easter, he ain't got a second life. You know I'm right? Hold up, look. Now the sirens in my window here, pull it over. License and registration, gun ain't never in the holster. Plus, that man black too, he wanna act too. A nigga with an attitude and a badge too. A couple tattoos, hoping I act a fool so he can squeeze too. But it ain't nothing different, they the same thing. They pull him over, he gon' get the same thing. Maybe 2 up in his brain, 21 gun salute. Last words was I'm a copy, last heard fuck you. And he ain't coming back, you know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone. And now she on welfare. Lost said that they can't live there, so we ain't there. And life ain't fair, but the food free and the rent cheap. His roaches where you sleep. He still came around and taught you baseball. Bought a Barbie doll, he raised all of y'all. And now the kids adults, they both up in the court. She want that child support, he on that child support. But he ain't never taught him baseball, and she ain't never bought him Barbie dolls. They both never there, no, never, not at all. Saying, well, pull your pants up, girl, why your ass out? They looking back saying, why, y'all ain't ever in the house? You got it backwards, don't you? I'm saying, cause we still preaching unity. And it's supposed to be family first in community. Got it in church to $1 for your blessing. We made in God's image, thinking we're Satan's mind. They got us crossed up, now Judas is Caesar. America bury me, but I ain't coming back for Easter. Yeah, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for Easter, y'all say goodbye. Everybody cry, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause Cause I ain't coming home, they know I'm black like Jesus. But I ain't coming back for each to everybody cry. Y'all say goodbye, second line. But when the music stop, move on. Cause I ain't coming home, I'm gone.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail, man. LeBron James, Jerry Jones, Kyrie Irving, in America. So it's all the sports news where LeBron James asked the reporters why they didn't even bring up the picture with Jerry Jones. You know, was it 1957, something like that. It was 57 years ago or something, when they were, trying to bully black kids from going to school when they were integrating to schools. And it's a picture of a young Jerry Jones, and he was saying how, he heard what Kyrie Irving was talking about, and when he said, y'all don't keep this same type of energy when things offend and affect my people. And LeBron James had to go, yeah, I mean, we see it again, right? And he walked off. The reporters didn't say anything, but he didn't allow him to. I don't think he wanted him to, because he was pointing out the obvious. And it's funny how it takes somebody like LeBron James to point it out, not just because he's LeBron James, but because you don't really see any blemishes in his character as a person. You have to be the perfect Negro to say it the perfect way and to do it the perfect way and to walk off. And he's one of those guys who's been dealing with, high pressure for a very long time, so he's just comfortable with it. But he pointed it out. Man, I don't know what's going on. I can't tell you. But what winds up happening is, worse come to worse, somebody will make something up and say, see, he's not a perfect person, to not hear what he said. Now, the reason I got to bring this up is because LeBron James is actually a Cowboys fan. And the Cowboys are quote-unquote America's team. And, the love and infatuation with the Cowboys, I never got. I've never been a Cowboys fan. But when you're a fan of somebody, a fan of a team, and something like this happens, do you throw away the team now? Throw away all your favorite players and your favorite memories? And that's an American thing, right? So that's the interesting part. Matter of fact, before I keep going, since there's a problem with the sound, hit one if you can hear me. Because I don't, hit the number one if you can hear me, so I don't have to, tinker with stuff, because I'm really doing this at the I'm trying to make sure you can hear me clearly. But got to get to the LeBron James, Jerry Jones part, which is appreciated, Green Machine. Here's the Jerry Jones issue. Jerry Jones is 80 years old. He's an 80-year-old white man in America. And part of, I said, I wonder if you could hear me. You hit one and then said, not clear. What's happening, man? But the issue along the way with Jerry Jones is 2 weeks ago, we had the whole Kanye West thing. He's a billionaire. And then all of a sudden, in 2 days, he's not a billionaire anymore. But if something happens to somebody like Jerry Jones, who's a billionaire, they're still a billionaire tomorrow. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh, Jerry Jones was part of Jim Crow. Take his money. No, the bank accounts still say billions. So that's what's the interesting part about this. He doesn't have to go to donate to the United Negro College Fund. He don't have to do all of that. He doesn't have to do, make all these services because he's a quote unquote owner. He has power. But this is the dynamic that people have been talking about for years. If you're a certain race, there are different rules. So that's part of the Jerry Jones thing. Citibank. Appreciate that. Different rules. Different rules, different regulations. So now you got to ask the question. Okay, so why am I bringing up Kyrie? Well, the interesting thing about Kyrie Irving and what happened with Kyrie Irving is what he said that LeBron James said. When something happens with my people, y'all need to keep that same energy. And here's the thing. You could say, LeBron didn't speak up for him and da-da-da-da-da, which in some ways is true. But nowadays, because of social media, what happens a lot? Just give it a little time. The hypocrisy is going to be smack dab front and center. And why am I saying this? Because one of the things LeBron talked about was when you black and something happens, it's all on the news, it's all on the ticker, it's all on this, it's all on that. It's on the tabloids. Watch this. What do you think is going to get more coverage? This thing with Jerry Jones, what LeBron James said, or Deshaun Watson, first game Sunday. What you think is going to get more coverage? What you think they're going to be talking about next week? You think they're going to be talking about Jerry Jones, or they're going to be talking about Deshaun Watson? Now, all we got to do is wait and see, right? Let's just see the amount of coverage this gets, right? Now, stumbling back to Kyrie, here's the interesting thing that I like about the Kyrie situation and why he brought up Kyrie, when LeBron brought up Kyrie. Do you think the reporters that were talking to Kyrie, you're promoting this and you're promoting that, and when he said, when my people are going through stuff, where are you? Like, you don't keep the same energy. You think the reporters are going to go up to Kyrie and say, Kyrie, did we keep the same energy with Jerry Jones? Or you think these reporters the same reporters who kept, are you anti-Semitic? You think they're going to, every time you see Jerry Jones, you think they're going to pop up, Jerry Jones, are you, da-da-da-da-da? The same reporters won't be able to go there. They won't even be able to have the conversation because it's like, you caught me red-handed. Now, another thing, because it's not really about Jerry Jones, but it's really about America. Jerry Jones represents something that is very, very pervasive. Jerry Jones is around the same age as Joe Biden. He's around the same age as Donald Trump. The last two presidents. They benefited off of Jim Crow. They benefited off of centuries of racism. And here's the interesting thing. Exactly. They're not going to go, nobody's going to say, man, Jerry, when you were 14 years old, you basically, were intimidating black kids trying to get an education. That was a long time ago. You may be a different person now. You've made a bunch of black men rich since then. But here's the question that they're not going to ask. Jerry, do you think you got the same, those black kids that y'all were, trying to intimidate to go to school? Do you think those people who were 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and they were black, do you think those guys got the same type of opportunities that you did? Because see, you're a billionaire now. You were able to go in business for yourself and become an entrepreneur and wind up making a lot of money in oil. How many of the guys that you saw in general, how many black guys did you see, in your high school that was able to even attempt that? When you was in college in Arkansas, how many black guys you see able to just attempt that? When you were in the oil fields, before you made it rich, how many black guys did you see being able to go drill and attempt that? How many rigs were they giving to brothers that had the money? Or how many people got lent the money to do it? And the reason why I bring that up is this. Even though you're mad at Jerry Jones is indicative of the CEOs of America, how they came up. I know people like Jerry Jones is maybe a little younger than Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is considered, by most an investing juggernaut. You think, what time did Warren Buffett come up in? See what I'm saying? What time did he come up in? You think Warren Buffett, people could be a good person now, but let's be honest. He didn't come up in a time where you were supposed to be a good person to people that look like me. That's who has companies. See what I'm saying? Same thing when people talk about Donald Trump and his dad's affiliations and his granddad's affiliations. This is who runs companies. When it comes to banking, when it comes to construction, when it comes to defense, anything that makes money. When it comes to agriculture, we know what was going on. So when people go, oh, there's systematic racism, we don't see the systematic racism. Well, think about Jerry Jones when it was time when the players wanted to take a knee with Colin Kaepernick. Not on my team, but then, when somebody white told Jerry he can't, you gonna do what I tell you to do. But we's gonna take a knees now, boys. Everybody gonna do it. It's like, oh, okay. All right. That look real suspect, but it is what it is. It's not that people found a picture of Jerry Jones doing that, but you know how many people's parents and grandparents did the same thing? You know how many people who run law firms and and insurance companies and medical companies and corporations and conglomerates, parents and grandparents who or founders did the same thing. I mean, think about that. I mean, Walmart is huge, right? It's from Arkansas. I'm sure you can find something racist on Sam Walton. And probably his kids. When people, it's systematic racism. No, it's not. We don't see what it used to be. Yeah, because it's normal now. It's just normal practice. The idea is normal practice. But nobody's going to, they're not going to try to buck break Jerry Jones. And for me, it's like, oh man, HEB, oh wow, that's my favorite grocery store too. Yeah. Oh, not, yeah, Frenchies. They tried to take Frenchies under so many times, it makes no sense. But that's the America we live in. LeBron didn't say anything that people couldn't yeah, this is what we doing. And the thing with Kyrie offended people. And I get it. When people feel offended or get offended, they want an apology. I get it. Only problem is, this is America. That same group offends us all the time. It's offended us for years and decades. They don't apologize. They don't. But I thought something was going on, so you got to excuse me. So now we got to take this a step further. The problem with social media in America and LeBron and Jerry Jones and Kyrie collectively is this. LeBron was so calm about it. Like, America's having a problem because, they think people are woke. Black people are not woke. We accept America. We're a generation of people during a time where we accept what America is, and we accept what all of the people in the melting pot of America are too, when they're dealing with us. And now what we accept it is we're calling stuff out easily, and people know it's not like that, and then bang, it's like that. But the difference now is just what people would say in the house, is for public now. It's for public consumption. Because now a person can make a statement and you go, oh, that's wrong. That's not true. And then bada boom, bada bing, 6, 7 days, 2 weeks, you see it play out on national television. You see it play out all through social media. That's what's going on. You see it over and over and over and over again. So you can't get around it. You can't get around it. You can't, LeBron James was talking about, when somebody black does something, a black athlete does something wrong or somebody doesn't like, it's posted and plastered everywhere in the media. Man, how quickly we forgot about Brett Favre, huh? If Brett Favre was black, do you think that story would have died? No. I was telling my lady, I said, when people, Big Ben retired, people don't bring up his accusations of assaulting women when they bring up his name. They just say 2-time Super Bowl champion Ben Roethlisberger. That's what they say. See what I'm saying? All that other stuff don't come up. It'd be bigger than Mike Vick. Exactly. Exactly. Man, what's up, GB? Man, man, I'm glad too, man. I'm glad. You keep doing your thing. I see you. It's crazy, but it probably would be. It definitely be bigger than Mike Vick because he stole from the poorest people in the state. It's like, but he's not black, so it doesn't count. Doesn't count. You know, what if, how about this? What I brought up Deshaun Watson earlier, right? What if Porzingis was black? You think they'd just let that story go? You think they just let that story go? Well, Porzingis got accused of in the past and they just, hey, you could just leave New York? You think they'd let that story go? Nah. That's the issue. That's America. That's the issue. But now it's getting worse because what happens when the media has to deal with people with the entertainers looking at the media like, look, I know you only cover the story that downgrades somebody that looks like me. I know you only play that story. I know you only go over that story. I know that's gonna be in rotation over and over again. Yo, that was a great example. Yeah, wow, that's a great example. You partly like, yeah, Chad Wheeler, people exactly. NFL player, nobody, people act like Chad Wheeler doesn't exist. He wasn't as big of a player as Ray Rice, so it doesn't count. It should doggone count. The Porzingis story was years ago. He was accused of assaulting women in New York. That's why they traded him to Dallas. That was the underbelly of what happened. Exactly. And that's what's going on. Like, people have accepted America, and it's like we just gonna hold up this mirror and say, this is who y'all are. This is what y'all do. I was listening to Tariq Nasheed earlier today, and he has I don't know if it's yesterday. He winds up having a conversation about black and Jewish relations. A Jewish guy calls in, and if you listen to that, because it's like 30, like this conversation starts at like around 30 minutes, somewhere around 30-minute part. The guy calls in. If you listen to how this guy is talking and what he thinks is history and what he thinks isn't history, man, it's crazy. Right. It's crazy. But that's America. And then we point out, this is the whole critical race theory issue. When people are like, what is that CRT stuff? Like, you talking about history? I talked about Favre a few minutes ago. When we talk about history, see, people are talking about history in real time. Real time. Like, think about it. When they say, Kanye made his statements, I get that. Kyrie, they don't like him putting that movie. And that's the other thing about that movie. Amazon is still selling that movie. See, it ain't that bad. It's only bad if somebody black watches it. It's not bad if somebody still is paying for it. That's not what's bad. What's bad is the black basketball player said something. And it reminds me of a scene in Ali. The Ali movie with Will Smith. And there's a scene, I forgot the guy's name who played Howard Cosell, but the actor who's playing Howard Cosell was talking to Will Smith, who was playing Ali. And he was like, what is the problem with this? And Cosell basically tells Ali, you're the heavyweight champ of the world. That's why they're doing this to you. You represent something bigger than just yourself. You're the heavyweight champ of the world, and you see America this way, basically. And now what you have is you have a bunch of rich players who don't really. A lot of times people say the players are scared. Players don't want to, and the players are scared because they say anything, they get cut, they lose their money. But nobody has a problem with these players being under this kind of scrutiny where they got to walk on eggshells or they're going to lose their money because you looking for them to say something that you don't like. You know, athletes and entertainers have been dealing with cancel culture far before it even started. You know, but that's what everything is that, you know, or they get told to shut up and dribble. Shut up and dribble. Shut up, throw the ball. We don't want to hear that. Why are you talking about that? Well, we just make a song. You know, it's like, okay. You know, exactly. You never see it this way. It doesn't happen. You know, they never tell, Aaron Rodgers was walking around talking about, doing psychedelic drugs in the rainforest, in the Amazon rainforest before the season, using ayahuasca. Nobody's like, just shut up and throw the ball. Just because you just do a spin move and throw a post route. Nobody wants to hear about you trying to find enlightenment. It's like, okay. That's what America is, though. What is it? What is the guy, Joe Thomas? He's a Browns legend, the offensive tackle, the one that retired. I think he became a senator. Senator Kyrie, he became a politician. Nobody says, hey, just block somebody, why don't you? Like, even outside of this country, people look at the Klitschko brothers as and Manny Pacquiao as great human beings for being athletes that decided to become politicians and the president and senators and stand up for their country. Here, completely different story. Completely different story. If you're an athlete and you decide to run for government, it's going to be a problem. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a problem. If you're a rapper, you try to run, it's going to be a problem. And I ain't just talking about Herschel Walker. If I'm not mistaken, either Willie D and Scarface wanted to run for a certain office. Oh, man. Money. They say capitalism is the culture in the U.S., but truth be told, money is just the excuse that people in the U.S. use to do devilish things. That's it. That's what money has always been in the U.S. The excuse to do devilish things. Giving Indians blankets with smallpox. Oh, it's because we're going to get some money out of this. Slavery, money, Jim Crow, money. The things people do for a buck. Unless you're the Terminator. Hilarious. What's happening, man? The ends justify the means, but that's a color coordinated thing. Like how can I do this? If y'all ever watch, excuse me, I'm talking about LeBron, Jerry Jones, Kyrie Irving in America. It reminds me of certain things. And one of them is a simple story, a simple movie that's a classic. It's called Harlem Nights. See, they were both running like casinos, gambling, gambling casinos, gambling and prostitution, basically. When the white folks was doing it, not a problem. When the white folks found out the black folks was making money, it was a problem. But when you watch movies like that, you see how it's not the movie itself. It's the because all of those movies have a theme, and I'm not just talking about crime movies. What I'm talking about is America's hypocrisy when it comes to money and race. And the theme you're gonna always see is with the crime movies, the white people got people who work for the police and judges, and who work in the government. The black people don't. And when people talk about, hey, people are making moves behind the scene. Sorry about that. Hold on. I'm still not feeling that hot, but when people are talking about making moves behind the scenes, that room looks the same. The same people who are in the room making a story, excuse me, who are asking the questions of Kyrie Irving, are the same, and who said, were you promoting this movie? Were you anti-Semitic? Are the same people when the Jerry Jones story crossed their timeline? Let's just move it to the side. Same people. It's the same people. So it makes you go, okay. So now when you ask these questions, I know you're asking questions you're fishing for information, and you're fishing for an angle to set somebody up or destroy somebody or to manipulate a situation for your own benefit. Like a lot of y'all probably don't remember TMZ when Harvey Levin, when they had the video of Justin Bieber making the N-word joke, right? But they had people who were black who they was looking for information on. And then the thing with Justin Bieber came out about what he did, and Harvey Levin was like, yeah, I knew about that. I had that information a long time ago, but I didn't want to put that out there because I didn't want to ruin his career. This is America. That's the media. White people don't want to ruin other white people by putting their negative business out in the streets, but they'll ruin black people easily. Creating issues, man. Creating issues. Hold up. Check. People are creating issues right now for me. But going back to the media part, that's when we got to play this game where, so you mean we're going to run this story about this black dude over and over and over again? If it's true or if it's not, I'm going to be all right. I'm good. But the same company, think about it. Like I said earlier, Jerry Jones is like 80. The people who run all of these big major companies around Jerry Jones' age, what's the guy that runs Fox? Guy that runs CNN? The guy that owns, that runs Lehman Brothers and stuff like that. These are older guys. And you wonder, when people even use the NFL, you wonder when it comes to hiring practices, why they can't hire a black coach. They were in the same class as Jerry Jones, basically. And I ain't talking about class as far as money. I'm talking about class as far as year and when they graduated school. They were basically in the same class as Jerry Jones. And they wasn't hiring black people for no positions. This is what people have known. This is what you call a good old boys club, right? And a good old boys club has rules. It has rules. Right. So, like I said earlier, this whole situation with Jerry Jones, today's Thursday night. Thursday night football is on tonight. And I promise you, by when soon as Saturday comes, they're gonna talk about Deshaun Watson, or tomorrow they're gonna talk about Deshaun Watson about to have his first game, and then all the 107 chicks who said he touched me while I was massaging him is gonna pop up, and then the whole next week you're gonna hear Deshaun Watson story. And we're gonna find out the truth about these stories 10 years from now. But the Jerry Jones story, let's move. The Brett Favre story, we already got that out the way. So that's what's interesting about these type of things, because the truth of the matter is, when I said earlier, skeletons illegitimate, that's messed up. When I said earlier, that, how can I put this? I'm about to say something that's going to be cold-blooded, and I'm trying to say it properly and nicely. How many of y'all think Jerry Jones' son is going to take over when he dies? If Jerry Jones was raised in that type of environment that had him looking on for that type of stuff, even though he made a lot of brothers rich, right? What do you think his son is going to do? Because in one way, you think his son going to hire a black coach? No. They're getting us. Donald Sterling is, man, please. No. Donald Sterling's story didn't last as long as it could have. To be perfectly honest. Let me make a point about this. What do you think? And this is what I mean by the media, black people versus white people. What do you think is going to last longer? It has lasted longer. The Malice at the Palace or Donald Sterling? Think about that. Think about it. Like, real talk. That's just I'm talking about the NBA in itself. What do people care more about? The Malice at the Palace or Donald Sterling? My dog is tripping. No. Malice at the Palace could be more entertaining, but which one is worse? The Malice at the Palace, and even using that as a reference. What's up, George? You know what's the interesting thing about the Malice at the Palace? The person who started it, the person who actually started it was Ben Wallace, but that's a whole nother story. But nobody ever said the white guy was wrong for throwing a bill was an issue. Nobody ever says that. Think about that. Nobody ever says, it's an issue. It's an issue. But the Malice at the Palace is got a documentary now. You think Donald Sterling's going to have a movie? I don't know. Going to have a movie and actually say everything he said? Nah. But that's what I mean about America. That's what I mean about America. Like, that's what I mean, the difference between Donald Sterling. My dog gets on my nerves sometimes. No. That's the difference between Donald Sterling, Jerry Jones, and Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James. Like, think about it. Who's going to get more attention over the years? Donald Sterling or Michael Vick? Donald Sterling or Ray Lewis? Donald Sterling or Ray Rice? But what about? But when I bring the white equivalents, I ain't gotta be the white equivalents. Like when somebody you brought up Chad Wheeler earlier. We can do better than that. Nobody talks about the whole situation that happened with Robert Kraft anymore. That's over with, right? Nobody talks about that anymore, ever. Nobody talks about, when I brought up Bill Roethlisberger. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about who was the dude? Matt Jones. Lord have mercy, Matt Jones. And who was the Ryan Mallett? Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks. Matter of fact, let me fast forward. How many of y'all, and this is what I mean by even the Dan Snyder, how about Baker Mayfield? Does anybody talk about Baker Mayfield running from the cops before the draft? No. How often did people talk about Johnny Manziel snorting coke off of the Heisman before the draft? Yeah, wasn't a big deal. Wasn't a big deal. If they were black, you think that would have happened? You think you could see a black Heisman Trophy winner? Devontae Smith won the Heisman, and he's snorting coke off the Heisman, and then he's going to the NFL? No. No. Derrick Henry gets in a police chase before the draft, but he's still a top pick? No. Oh, Jim Irsay, dog. Jim Irsay be getting caught up in pills, caught up in all kinds of stuff. But hey, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. He had the story with hiring Jeff Saturday where people was like, wow, we're going to do this? Yes, we're going to do this. Look, they don't even talk about it. It's crazy. That's crazy. They don't talk about that anymore. But they talk about Miami though. They talk about the Hurricanes though. Oh, look what the Hurricanes was doing. Oh, okay. They talk about that a lot. They still bring that up. But this is what I mean by America is different, man. You got a person like LeBron got to talk about it, and then you got to vilify Kyrie, and then something that Kyrie said was absolutely right, and you can't say nothing about it. And then you got Jerry Jones in the middle, and it's like, yeah, but he's old and he's white. Young white people do this type of stuff. Watch this. As much as people talk about Kanye West, right? Talk about Kanye. Let's bring up somebody else. Kevin Hart. Yeah, my puppy tripping. Let's bring up Kevin Hart. You remember how they was like Kevin Hart was homophobic and he needed to apologize and this, that, and the third? You remember that? Remember when he had to do, they dropped him from doing the Oscars or whatever? Do you remember what happened before that? Does anybody remember what happened before that? You remember when they had the Sony executives, somehow their emails got leaked and they were talking real greasy about black folks and Kevin Hart? For no reason. Just, forget about that part. Nobody had to apologize. Nobody had to do anything. Really, some emails got caught up. Oh, man, I didn't know they hated him so much. I didn't know they hated black people like that. Something's going wrong with it. Was it Sony? Something like that? That's par for the course. That's normal in America. That's what goes on every day. My dog is angry right now. That's what goes on every day. Hold on. I'm a Yeah, my bad. No. When Eminem was using homophobic slurs, he wound up doing a song with Elton John in the Grammys and stuck the middle fingers up at the end. Wasn't a big deal. Wasn't a big deal. And I'm not saying these, let black people get away with, doing the wrong thing. No, I'm saying, you know, black people ain't got to do the right thing. Don't have to do the wrong thing to be put on blast in America. Just to let somebody white off the hook. That's what happens all the time. That happens all the time. And it's part of what's going on. And the thing about it is we're never gonna keep that same energy. As a matter of fact, isn't there a movie out right now about America's hypocrisy? With Devotion, that's the one with Jonathan Majors playing the black fighter pilot who had to deal with the racism in the United States military. And racism is still in the military. Don't get it twisted. My dog is biting my feet right now. This is cold blooded. Ow. But it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. Because guess what happens? We're going, what? Oh, that was a long, long time ago. Really? It's a long, long time ago? Don't black people have a hard time being fighter pilots right now because all of these little, straight up but hidden things that are going on? Isn't that going on right now? I know full-on white supremacists in the military. They had their Confederate flags and they swastikas in the barracks and whatnot. But this is America. But when people say, "Oh, that's not it. It's the greatest country in the world," and here's my thing, and this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. When people say America is the greatest country in the world, for white people, it's the greatest country in the world for white people. It's not the greatest country in the world for everybody else. It might be better than other countries in a place you call quote unquote third world countries, but America is a great place for white people. America is better than Europe. America is better than Australia. America is better than Canada. So, yeah, you would say America is better than Russia. So, America is the greatest country in the world for white people. And everybody else, not so much. But the issue with all of this stuff is, the issue with this stuff, that when LeBron James has to speak it eloquently for it to be heard, think about that. Black people know, I think, and I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound cold, and I could be wrong in what I'm saying. You guys call them crackers. I'm gonna get into some of that too, fam. I'm gonna get into some of that too, because first I'm gonna say this. I think that people who aren't black in America actually believe that if black leaders like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers were alive today, they wouldn't get shot. We as black people know better. You know what I'm saying? We as black people know better. Like if they were another, Fred Hampton and Huey Newton, that something crazy wouldn't happen to them. We as black people know better. But calling, white people crazy names or racial slurs and stuff, I think this is also one of the issues in America with that this kind of points out. We as black people, we really don't do as much racial stuff as other groups. Like we're not out here calling Hispanics racial slurs and Asians racial slurs, and we're not really calling gays all these slurs like people. Y'all they put that on us a lot. We're not calling Jewish people racial slurs, and we're not the ones shooting up synagogues and beating up gay people who cross dress in some places. We're not doing none of that. We're not making fun of like Asian phenotypes or whatever. It's like because, but we have far more experience with people effing with us, with than they have of us. They have like a lot of fantasy racism and a fantasy, hatred when it comes to us. Like, one guy one time was playing basketball and I got dunked on, and a black guy said, "Ah, you." Da, da, da. It's like, bro, no, we're not doing this. Oh, I mean, you know what? Let's just say that happened. You had to play an angry basketball player talking trash for this to happen. Oh, okay. How often do you play basketball? Seriously. Once every 5 years. Us as black people, we deal with it. If we want to go to a Spanish place and enjoy, their culture environment, trust me, there might be some racial stuff happening. If we go to an Asian environment, there's going to be some racial stuff happening. If we go to a white environment, there's going to be some racial stuff happening. So on and so forth. There's always some racial stuff happening. Right. But the issue with all of what I'm saying is this. This country is accustomed to when we get offended, let's just sweep it under the rug. See, when things happen with us, everything is swept under the rug. And even that, Sharp, what's interesting about that is half of those people doing it to be rebellious. Like, what up, T-Mac? Like, you don't see black people doing this kind of, like, you don't see black people, and I know people try to, let me not go that far. We don't have a history of disrespecting people and covering it up. We don't have a history of, you know what, I'm gonna talk crazy to this person, but let's just keep it between us. We don't have a history of trying to sabotage another, group of people and go, shh, but we got a master plan behind the scenes and it's gonna all work out. We don't have a history of doing that. That's the issue. And I've been foolish enough, and I've defended people. Like, I remember I defended Mike Vick for the dog fighting, because initially I didn't think he was doing it, because at the time my cousin was one of his teammates, and you get to play. For people who don't know, the Atlanta Falcons is one of those teams where if you play for them, you gotta live in the city. So I'm like, fighting dogs in Virginia. Nah, the dude live in Atlanta. He got to be there the whole football season, and mostly after. You got to have a house in Atlanta. That's part of their rules. So I'm like, I wasn't expecting him to fly. Thanks, man. Thanks, Dwayne. I wasn't expecting him to fly on every off day and fight dogs. That just didn't. I didn't think Lance Armstrong was really cheating like that. Like, they're riding bikes, but then cheating. But we're not like we can be wrong, but we ain't gonna cover things up like crazy. We ain't gonna go, even though I know it's wrong, let's just move on like it never happened. We're not gonna do that. That's not how we get down. For this country to be such a Christian nation and a God-fearing nation and we do things like the way God would. This nation is so cowardly because every time somebody does dirt, you know, that's white, it don't count. It just don't count. Let's turn the other cheek. You know, I think about it. Like I told y'all before, I had a boxing podcast for years. And the interesting thing about the boxing world is the black man is the boogeyman. Don King was, the bad promoter. He was the boogeyman. He became a caricature in boxing movies for a sleazy promoter. But here's the problem. One problem. All these other promoters, like there is no, like, people don't diss Bob Arum for being a sleazy promoter. They don't. People don't diss Eddie Hearn. Right now, there is no Don King. So you know who's the worst, slimiest sleazeball in boxing? Al Heyman. Al Heyman don't do nothing bad, though. But hey, since he's a black dude, we got to get, Oscar De La Hoya keep getting caught left and right doing stuff. But we're gonna chill out with that, Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hold up, Shankrilla. Right. We believe in justice. These other people don't. They don't believe in that. That's not their get down. They believe in you forgive me, not forgiveness. Forgive me. Because if you do something, you'll never get forgiveness. But if they do something to you, you need to forgive them. You need to forgive them. Think about it. And I'm going to try to go apples for apples. I'm going to try to go apples for apples when I say this. They want the police officers that killed George Floyd or the lady that killed Botham Jean, and we need to let it go. Or the brother the dude that killed Oscar Grant. Oh man, this is a mistake. You can't do that. Answer me this question. How many of these people are saying they're willing to forgive Christopher Dorner? How many people you saw say, you know what? Christopher Dorner just snapped. He was a cop. It happens, man. It's an unfortunate incident. We gotta let it go. Like they going around asking the people, family who he killed that hey man, y'all should let that go, right? Y'all should forgive him. Oh, okay. They're not doing that. It's very interesting to me. It's very, very interesting to me. I ain't even gonna go there with, like, think about it. And what I'm about to say, using another reference, the lady that killed Selena, is the Mexican community trying to forgive her and move on? I don't think so. And that's, saying, woman on woman, Hispanic on Hispanic. They're not like, hey, let that go. Exactly. They problematic. But who else should they want? The guy that shot John Lennon. Are they asking, is he supposed to, hey, we need to forgive that man? No. That's not how it rolls. That's not how it rolls. I gotta let it go. Matter of fact, what is the black dude that just went to jail for running over people? You know, they're not asking for forgiveness. They giving him multiple life sentences. That's what it is. So the hypocrisy of America is all like, because of social media, because of athletes and entertainers, because of these quote unquote bigger platforms, and because of America's just normal routine and process, you see it over and over and over again that, you know, this country, all you got to do is wait. All you got to do is wait. Because the same thing that they'll say is wrong, if somebody black does it, when somebody white does it, it ain't wrong. And all you got to do now is just wait, because the next news story gonna come out. You know, exactly. Don't make no sense. You know, we gotta forgive. That, like, truth be told, that's part of the reparations argument. Part of the anger about black people wanting reparations is, you're not gonna forgive us? No, you owe me. No, you owe me. And because you owe me, we're gonna stay on this. You gotta let it go. Think about it. You know, think about it in an American sense. You got Jewish people in America who say we never letting go of the Holocaust. And that's fine. It didn't happen in America, but that's what they never letting go. Not a big deal. They tell us to let go of slavery and Jim Crow and racism. You know, they quote unquote, hey. You got the Hawaiians, and literally Hawaiians in Hawaii. Like, look, man, we're not gonna let go of what these people did and messed up our island. We don't like this. We don't like them. It's like, whoa. Oh, they're not supposed. They're not letting it go. See what I'm saying? You got Asians in America who, you remember when we built the railroads? The Chinese said they built the railroads. The Japanese was in internment camps. They not like, we're gonna forgive America. Oh, we're gonna let it go. It was a long time ago. That's not how it rolls. That's not how it rolls. Even Mexicans who, even when they try to blend in and be part white, they still not gonna let go of, you know, what was done, the Mexican American War. They still got their Independence Day. You get what I'm saying? Still got Mexican Independence Day. Like, we're not gonna let this slide. Like, we're not gonna forgive this. But with us, let's just, we supposed to let it go. And the irony, all those groups individually that I named have a history of using their television, media, and in their households to disrespect us, like we did something to them. We're the boogeyman in other group and other race, ethnicities, and religions' household, and we ain't do nothing to them. But this puts it on Front Street, like this whole story with LeBron talking about it. It puts it on Front Street because, like he said, like Kyrie said, you don't have that same energy, man. When you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you don't have that same energy. It's like, if a black person gets their hand caught in the cookie jar, bad black person. If a white person gets caught with their hand in the cookie jar, that is so adorable. And then people go, oh, okay. Different rules for you. No, this is America, and this is how the country is supposed to be. And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And this happened right after the Howard Stern thing, talking about Oprah shouldn't be spending her money a certain way. It's a trip. It's a trip. But I'm going to get out of here on that, man, because I got things to do. And y'all can hear my dog is cutting up. But, leave comments, man. Check it out. Tell me what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. I'm going to find this outro. And I'm gonna say peace, man. So peace.
It looks like a job for Superman.
Do this,
Spoken from the lips of the young or the old, there are many.
Yeah. Gotta put it all in.
And there are Supermen.
All the way. I guess I'm taking off the cake through the glasses in the trash. Being super is great, saving y'all is such a drag. Even God took a break, me I ain't coming back. I got one life to live, if you don't like it, that's your ass. Cause nobody saved me, plus when I'm drunk, I'm just a peon. I could use somebody just like I'm the kings of neon. This world is cold as ice, mixed with salt, mixed with freon. They got me pissed off, but that's better than being peed on. For eons, human beings took kindness for weakness. When you constipated, you start to appreciate shit. Put before you life and death, and you just gotta choose. The kryptonite life means you still follow the rules. If your credit's messed up or your bills ain't paid, then it's getting disconnected. Can't nobody say the day. And I can fly, leave a building in a single bound, but I can't stand fair weather friends, and I just fly around. My super friends is Justice League. Only folk I kick it with. Kill Lex Luthor, so what? We had to finish it. Kids play games and adults play for keeps. And me, I play to win, but I ain't playing in these streets. And life is not a joke. Then again, it ain't this serious. Superman can say the day, but God can say the Superman. Saga of the kryptonite, life just ended. You enjoy listening? Man, I finished it. Lois, come holler at me. I got an ice couch. Thank you. Coming out, listening. I knew you would like it because we made it. I'm so frigid and so fly.